Hey guys, how you all doing, and welcome back to the channel. Now the spring cleaning update is now finally live, and I'm here to tell you guys exactly what I think about this update. Now if you want to see everything that was in this update, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below so you can actually read everything that was in this update. Now this video of course would not be complete. The main topic that a lot of people was focused on in this update was the AR-57. So the gameplay that you're seeing in the background is actually me using the AR-57 this morning after its rework, or its nerf that everyone wanted to call it. And I'm also here to tell you, was this weapon nerfed, and as well as a few other things about this update. So let's just dive into the juicy bit of this entire update, the AR-57. Was it a nerf? Well, technically it was a nerf, but it's not by much. I would not call this a rework. It was just a nerf. That's all it was. So the headshot multiplier was slightly reduced, and me doing my usual test that I kind of used to do before, the headshot damage was nerfed by 2 damage. Across the board, 10 meters, 15 meters, and etc. The headshot damage was just nerfed by 2. That's all. Reload speed, the magazine size, all of it is exactly the same, including the grouping, which was the biggest issue on the AR-57, and you're going to see this in the gameplay. I am still destroying people, not aiming down the sight. This gun still takes no skill, so for people to say like, oh yeah, is the crown finally removed off of the AR-57? Absolutely not. The AR-57 is still the king of all the SMGs. Absolutely nothing has changed. It has just been slightly reduced by 2, but since you're going to be hip firing anyway, it doesn't even matter. You shouldn't even be aiming for the head. Now this next one is going to hit a little closer to home, and that's because it involves the SVD. Now if you already know, I got the SVD gold. It's taken me almost a month to get that thing gold. Now the recoil has been increased on this weapon. Why? I have no idea. If you watch my previous videos and you see me aiming down the sight with this, the recoil is absolutely insane, and I even criticized that weapon for having the most ridiculous recoil, and personally I think it has the worst recoil of all of them, but for some odd reason Whipple or Area Games thought, hey, let's increase the recoil. This thing is not enough. So the SVD has a recoil increase, the HK417, M39, CFX50, and the PSG, all the recoil has been increased across the board. I think it said by 10%. Again, I'll leave a link so you guys can see the exact statistics on that. Now the next thing is the CFX50. Now that thing had a magazine increase from 5 rounds to 8 rounds. Total ammunition count from 30 rounds to 32 rounds. Whoop-dee. Me personally, I'll be honest, that is a very beautiful looking rifle. I think that thing should be a one-shot. Just make the weapon incredibly sluggish and just make it a one-shot. The gun deserves it. It basically has no love, and the Blazer out damages it because it has a higher multiplier. I don't know. I think that gun needs much more love than what it has. One of the things that I actually really liked about this update, and a lot of people don't really take this thing for granted, they have a huge list of like a lot of bug fixes that they did, and all of that is just an overall improvement. It's good to see that the developers are actually taking the time to polish the game. So every update just releasing a wave of bug fixes, that is always appreciated, and it's always beautiful to see something like that. Now they did also add a few feature updates. They removed the option for you to report players, so I'm not really sure exactly how that process is going to work. I don't know, are you going to have to like save the profile name, go onto their website just to report a player? Because now how are you going to report if you guys see someone hacking? Now they also added passwords for lobbies, so if you guys actually host a custom lobby, which sometimes I do like having custom lobbies, you can now put a password, so now people can only join if they enter in that correct password. Weapon inspection has also been added, and you've seen that in the beginning of the video. It's a nice little cool feature. I actually enjoy that. Now the chat has also been filtered even further. Now you won't hopefully see that much profanity, but I'm also going to get back to that point because I do have an idea that the developers can use to help improve the chat even more, because it is still toxic. Now a new feature that I also seen that they have, which me personally, I'm going to think this is absolutely ridiculous. You can now reset your personal KD ratio and also your personal battle record for a low cheap price of $40 US. Now personally, I don't think this is a feature that actually should be in the game. You really shouldn't be giving the options for people to reset their KD ratio, which nonetheless, I can kind of see the value of it if people really do truly care about something like that and they don't like where it currently stands and they just managed to get better at the game, but however they are already pulled back because of the amount of experience that they've done bad. I can see the value of this, but just the sheer price of it, it's 4,999 AP, which in US dollars, the cheapest is 40. And that's if you're not paying for like an expensive pack. That's like double the $20 pack or something like that. $40 just to reset your stats is a little ridiculous to me. Now these new loot boxes are kind of get a little bit infuriating because I'm now starting to sense like a greedy business practice. Because like, I'm going to use me as an example, my personal experience. I want the overlap K2C. I'm trying to earn the legendary weapons as fast as possible. But when you look at the drop chances for all of the other new loot boxes, for example, the flip box. I'm trying to get the overlap K2C. The flip box is basically, you can call that the celebration box because it has a lot of celebration skins. but they made sure not to include the Celebration SVD because that is the requirement for the Overlad K2C. So the only chances of me getting the Celebration SVD are in 3 of the loot boxes: the digital limited supply box, a regular supply box, or a superior supply box. 3 out of the 7 supply boxes in total are basically the only thing that holds value to me. Now, unless you actually want these skins, then I can actually see the value in it. Me personally, I find no value in these 4 loot boxes. 3 of them only have weight. Those are the only ones that I desire, so I can care less about this. And I don't even hate loot boxes to begin with. Just give me a price that I can actually pay so I can get what I want. Now, I kind of want to go back to my idea about the chat filter. Why don't we have moderators monitoring the actual chat in the game? You have moderators watching the chat like a hawk on the Discord chat. Why don't we have something like that in the actual game? Make the partners volunteer to be moderators. Have the moderators that actually watch the Discord monitor the chat in IRONSIGHT to make sure that everything's being all good. Or just have like a 10-minute ban or something like that just to keep them a lesson. Like, yeah, we're not going to tolerate this, and if you continue this, we're going to permanently ban you. Give them a temporary ban, but also have people volunteer to be a moderator. I think having a set of human eyes watching over the chat and making sure to like censor people who are using racial slurs is the best defense that we have to making sure that it's not toxic like it is right now still. Another thing that I also didn't see about this update is that theater mode. I'm not sure if that's what it actually called. I'm just going to personally call it a theater mode. That mode that you can play back the previous games, and that's kind of like unfortunate because I did have some really good ideas for like any montages or just a sweet intro or something like that, and it's a shame that this wasn't included in this update, so maybe they're probably perfecting it and it'll be in the next update, but there has been no word about this. Now, about the giveaway that I was telling you guys about my last video, I did fill out my application and I am still waiting on it. Hopefully I can just give you guys something to show my appreciation for hitting the subscriber goal. But that's all I actually wanted to talk about today, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and please stay safe, everyone.